Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Shadowrun Dragonfall. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today as we complete some objectives, but also as we level up ourselves, because last episode I was having some confusion about what intelligence amounts to. I might want to get some of these stats. I wish I could, but I'm not at the moment. Extra quickness and strength. I mean, I'm a street samurai. I need this. Quickness is good because, of course, it allows me to dodge attacks, which I think has come quite in handy recently. Because I mean, we haven't taken too much damage, and I mean, it's pretty good. We have taken a doctor with us into the battlefield, but still, you know. So we have also body, which increases. Wait a minute, increases chance to take reduced damage from attacks for every point of body. That's really nice. How about that? And then in strength, I can't invest in anything, but I could also go for closed combat. Closed combat? That's definitely not what it's called. Let's not go with that. Let's go with closed combat. Yeah. So get that point over there. Defense bonus, gain a wait, what do you mean defense bonus? Is that what that is? Yes, I think so. Gain a defensive bonus to all non-magical ranged attacks made at close range. So that's pretty good. It's pretty nice. And then over here, we're probably going to go eventually, but let's just stay with that for right now. We can get extra quickness. Honestly, quickness starts to become a little bit diminishing returns because I'm not using it in other stuff unless I want to go with some. Yeah, I'm just not using it. So I might go with that later. But the body is looking like my next level up. Oh, dodge as well. Yeah, that's where my quickness goes. I'm gonna get that point eventually, not right now. We're gonna see how much I'm gonna need it or not. But we're here in the Cruise Bazaar. We're reporting in from a mission. We have Dante. That's right. I was trying to remember the name of our dog, Monica's dog, I guess. You look down to see a pair of bright eyes set into a scruffy face looking back at you. Dante, Monica's old dog. Looking down into those huge brown eyes, you see intelligence and sadness. On some instinctive level, you must know that his master is gone, and this is the same interaction that we had before, and we pet him, because of course we do. Let's go ahead and get our side quests done. I think our side quest is our computer. It is indeed. So let's have a chat with Dietrich over here. Hey, boss. Dietrich gives you a slight nod. What can I do for you? How are you holding up? You seem to take Monica's death harder than the others did. Nah, no harder. But I'm less buttoned up than the others are. He shakes his head, a wistful expression on his face. Eiger will never let herself show any weakness, and Glory, well, she's too full of chrome to feel much of anything. Me, I don't give a damn. I've spent too much of my life putting on a show for others already. What do you mean by that? I used to front a punk band way back when. Believe it or not, I've spent a pretty good chunk of my life on stage. Whenever we weren't playing, I was living up to our fans' expectations, spouting off, getting into fights, getting drunk, getting laid. Not a bad life, all things considered. What was your band called? Maybe I've heard of it. Oh, I doubt it, boss. We never really got any airplay. Oh, come on, Ditch, tell me. Alright, boss, if you insist. The band was called Messerkamp. Spelled just like it sounds, in big capital letters with an exclamation point. Oh, he was shouting it. We weren't a big act or anything. We sold a few records here and there, toured around Europe. We had a decent following in England, and we holed up in London from 31 to 36. Spent most of our time slumming it around the East End, and picked up enough Cockney to irritate the folks back home. He shakes his head. Truth be told, that whole chapter of my life is a bit of a blur. We didn't do it for the fans or the fame, and we sure as shit didn't care about the money. All that mattered to us was staying young and drunk and angry. He takes a moment to examine his gnarled hands, a sad smile on his face. We managed the second, too. Good God. Where has time gone? Dietrich shakes himself from his reverie and looks back at you. Well, looks back up at you. That familiar easy grin returns to his face. Well, anyway, boss, everything ends eventually, and I washed my hands of all this years ago. So, let's change the subject if you don't mind. So, you can sing? He regards you with a critical eye. I haven't read that yet. I didn't want to say anything, but first off, there are bands that don't have a singer. Also, there are bands, most of them in fact, where all the members are not singers, or rather, where not all members are singers. But he's also apparently the singer. Did he tell me that I was the singer? He might have said that he was the frontman, so I suppose that would be the singer. I don't remember if he told me that he was the singer, but then again, I didn't want to ask that right away. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm entrenched in the dialogue. He says, "I was the frontman of a punk band, boss. Fuck no, I can't sing." He grins, but I wasn't half bad at riling up a crowd. How did you go from forming a band to running the Shadows? Wasn't a big leap, as you'd think. I already had a healthy disrespect for authority, and I had the magic to back it up. One nice thing about shamanism, as long as you keep your idol happy, it doesn't matter what else you do. The Dragon Slayer chose me to be his servant, and as long as I was scrapping with someone bigger than me, he didn't much care whether I did it on stage or in the shadows. Yeah, tell me about the Dragon Slayer. Nah, not much to tell. He chose me when I was just a kid. I could always feel him in my heart, goading me to laugh louder, hit harder, and get rowdier than the rest. Of course, my family didn't understand, but the hell with them, I thought. I knew that I was destined for greater things. So I listened to him, and I cracked the skulls of a lot of bad people. He saw this, and was pleased, and rewarded me with magic. And I used that magic to crack bigger, thicker skulls, and so on. It's a simple life, but a good one. Any thoughts on about the last run that you'd like to share? Well, we fought Winters. That's something, I guess. This whole thing has me feeling uneasy, boss. But at least we have a direction to look in. Yep, so long, Dietrich. I can't pronounce your name very well. Take it easy, boss. Dietrich. I think it's the ch sound. I think it might be. It could be Dietrich for all. I don't know. It's German. It's gonna be Dietrich. I have no idea. Oh boy. So, we have a lot of things in our equipment, and I don't like that. How do I put the stuff over there? Do I drag and... I do drag and drop. Look at this. Okay, next up. Can I select... I cannot. This is bad news. Well, it isn't bad news. My misunderstanding is that my companion's equipments are my own, but I don't think that's the case. Or is it? I guess we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna run without equipment for right now, because when we go into the run next, I'm gonna be able to mess with their equipment. So we're gonna figure it out then. Hey, Eiger. Eiger turns to face you. There's a pained look on her face. Look, I owe you an apology. Is that... I'm gonna say, oh, is that so? Yeah, it is. When Monica died, I was pissed. That probably doesn't come as a huge surprise, but I took that anger out on you, and I shouldn't have. Seeing Winter's body like that was enough to convince me. You couldn't have done anything to help Monica, and I couldn't have either. We're dealing with something new. Monica was a good friend of mine. Her death hurt. I got carried away, and I said some things that I shouldn't have. I want to apologize for that. Her body relaxes. She begins to turn away. Anyway, that's all that I wanted to say. Well, there are a few things that I want to say. She stops and turns back to face you. You can see the wariness. Wow, that's a word that I rarely see. Wariness, not as in she's weary, because the wariness comes from weary, but not written like that. That comes from she's wary of me. I don't see that word very often. It's probably common and just normal, and I'm just making a big deal out of it because I'm not a native speaker and I don't see a lot of words often behind her eyes. Their wariness behind her eyes. Go ahead. Nobody's stopping you. So I don't want to suck up to her, That's the main important thing that Monica left in her computer. But that doesn't mean I want to just be inconsiderate of her position. So let's see. I accept your apology, but if you ever insult me again in front of the team, if you ever insult me in front of the team again, you're going to regret it. That's a promise. So that's the first option. The second one is that weak-ass apology changes nothing. Your behavior after Monica's death was inexcusable. That's the second option. And the third option is you're a valued member of this team, Eiger. We need you now more than ever. I'm glad that you're on my side. And that's the sucking up, I think. And this one is just sort of, yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to say the first one, I accept your apology. But if you ever insult me in front of the team again, you're going to regret it. That's a promise. She nods appreciatively. Some backbone. That's good to see. Don't worry, Edie. I won't question your competence again. Not in front of the others, at least. But I won't lie, I still have concerns about you. What kind of concerns? Basic ones. I don't want to see history repeat itself. What history are you talking about? I'd rather not go into it, fearless leader. Let's just say that I've had bad luck with underexperienced teammates, and leave it at that. She turns away. You should go, fearless leader. I've got prep work to do for our next run, and I've got more important things to do than watch me pack my gear. Yep, that's true. Hey, Glory. What's up? So, let's look at the other place. Because now we have... Yeah, that's probably somebody else's place. The Max's place. Which No, it's not Max's place. That's his place over here. What's his name? I forget. Is it not Max? It is Blitz. Right. No, I don't think that's his place. I think it's just there because he can't find a better place right now. And this is probably not Dietrich's place either. He's just in the kitchen right now. This would be Monica's place, though. And she has an old sofa over there. I think, maybe, potentially for her. It's just some rooms. And this is the toilet. Okay, so this is not Glory's place. This is just the toilet where Glory wants to be. Or maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Because there's... I don't know what that is. Is that a microwave? Is the water coolers and whatever that all that machinery is? Let's have a chat with Glory. Glory's expression remains distant, but her lips curl upward into a hint of a smile. Edie, need something? Everything still okay with you? You never need to worry about me, Edie. I'm fine. Any thoughts about that last run? No, Edie. Nothing right now. I'd still like to know more about that chrome you're sporting. Oh, that's not a story that I'm interested in telling out of context. If we really want to get into it, we're going to need to go back, way back. And she stares at you with her cold, dead eyes that are red and cold. Sure, I'm not sure that you want to do that, she says. You say that you'll give me answers when we talk about your past, so let's talk about it. Why do you care? There's no hostility in her voice. If anything, she sounds suspicious. I don't care. Not particularly, but I'm curious. She pauses for a moment, considering, and then she nods. Alright, fine. We can talk. But we're doing it on my terms. This is a long story, Edie. Long and ugly and cruel. Are you sure you want to hear this? Please. Alright, I'm gonna start at the beginning. Not for you, for me. I guess that it might help me to say all this out loud. She takes a deep breath and then slowly releases it. When she speaks, her voice comes out in a cool monotone. My family lived in Stuttgart. It was a nice enough place, I suppose. My parents worked as wage slaves for IFMU. My mom was a good person. Once upon a time, my father was a decent person as well. That's what Mom always told me, but I never knew him that way. She pauses for a long moment. When she begins speaking again, some of the ice has fallen away from her voice. For the first time since you met her, Glory sounds alive. I haven't been portraying her like that, mind you, but I guess she's... yeah. The dad that I knew was an old damaged Euro war vet who turned to hardline religion to make sense of the world. In Stuttgart, that meant either the Ritter Christi or their fascist cousins, the Kreuzritters. my father chose the latter path. I still remember I still remember hiding in my room when my father had his Cruz Ritter's brothers over for prayer group. They would drink and get rowdy and then spend an hour or two riling themselves up with talk about heretics and the devil's work. Then they'd go find some poor elf or dwarf, stump the living shit out of him, and drown him in the nectar. Meanwhile, I'd be holed up at home with Mum, who would commemorate the event by drinking a bottle of wine and crying herself to sleep. I'm sorry, Glory. No child should have to grow up around that. Thanks, Edie. This is difficult for me. Thank you for making it easier. Anyway, aside from the fact that my dad and his buddies were a bunch of murderous assholes, life was pretty normal. I went to school, made friends, hung out with my mom, kid stuff. And then I turned 14 and everything went to shit. Glory pauses and then swallows hard. Ever so slightly, her cheeks flush red. Suddenly she looks self-conscious, as if she's just snapped out of a trance. As quickly as it came, the flush of emotions disappear. The flush of emotion disappears. Yes, it's a single flush. Would flush of emotions be plural? It would be the flush that disappears, so it'd always be disappears. Anyway, the flush disappears. Their voice frosts over. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's see. I'm definitely gonna... Like, it's clear that... excuse me. It's clear that she's relieving trauma. And it's only natural that she's, you know, not really focusing on her body attitude, or body language is the correct word to say, when she's trying to recall memories that she probably represses. It's kind of interesting that she says she's doing it for her as well as more for her than for me. But anyway, let's see. Airing this stuff out is clearly helping you work through it. That could be it. She could be just... I don't know. She could. It could be that she's just reacting against actually being working through it, rather than realizing that it's doing her harm. But I wouldn't be able to tell. Not as a player, and I don't know if as a character I would even be able to tell. I don't know if as a person in Edie's situation I would be able to tell this. I honestly haven't dealt with this sort of stuff before. It's really complicated. You know, people going through trauma in front of you. That's the sort of stuff that therapists focus on, and I haven't the slightest how that works. I mean, maybe the slightest, but not the slightest, if you know what I mean. Keep going, Glory. That just sounds like a bad deal. You don't need to say anything that you don't want to, but if you ever want to talk, you know where to find me. Yeah, let's go with this one. This one is risky, in the sense that I don't know if this is true or not. It possibly is, but this one, I think it's a little bit of a safer bet, and it is a thing that I want to say. So yeah, let's go with that. You don't need to say anything that you don't want to, but if you ever want to talk, you know where to find me. Thank you for understanding. Glory stares at you through cold, dead eyes. Now let's get back to the job at hand, shall we? Okay. Well, we have our mission computer that we must deal with. We have nobody's room over here. Could be mine. I have no idea. We got that thingy over there that all Twitch streamers have in the back. It's not really, but whatever. Your workstation and your mission computer. Thank you. Let's check inbox over here. You have no unread messages. Shadowrun BBS. Post pay data for sale. Attach data to escrow accounts. Claim payment for sold data. Pending transactions. Sold antiquities delivery schedule. And we got a little bit of money, 495, minus an escrow fee, and that is 10%, basically. I have no idea what escrow means. I know it shows up in YouTube when you get a copyright claim on a video that's monetized. It says escrow, and I'm like, okay. Well, I know what it is. It's somebody that had a copyright claim, and now the revenue is being shared. I suppose that's all that it means, really. It's just sort of... Anyway, it's just a fee. Why is it an escrow fee, specifically? It's the fee for sharing revenue? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, so I can't post anything because I don't have anything. But I can search for Oh, there's threat. Oh, yeah. These things keep showing up. These are different every time. So let's find them. Where to find elves? Is somebody posting on Reddit or something? Is there any health clubs or bars in the downtown area? I really want to meet one. They're just so beautiful. Maybe we can go dancing. Do elves like dancing? This is Alex Tusk asking. There's one on Trostab. What's that word? M? No. Yeah. Sir. It's sir. It's the word. It's for Scheisse. That's the word. Yes. I was trying to remember. I know a word that has that letter. Yeah. Trostrache. Potentially. Although or Trostrache. Whatever. I wouldn't be able to tell. It sounds Russian to me. Bring a bouquet of roses. Elves love a romantic. And look at that. The word romantic. Oh, this. Interesting that this is somebody Tolstoy called Tolstoy. It's interesting that I said it sounds Russian because the word romantic in Russian games is used wrongly a lot of the time, and I rarely see it used in non-Russian written games, mostly because it's not a very often said word in English, but this time it's used properly, even though it's a little bit awkward, but I suppose because it's used as a noun rather than an adjective, which romantic is an adjective, but it can be used as a noun. It's one of those things. It's just awkward when you do. The elf clubs I know are members only due to creepy groupies, like you, says Ruby. Not really appealing when a guy is only after them for the shape of their ears. Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah. Client screwed me, says a thread. Benno is a fraud. I broke my first rule. Always get full payment up front. Left me hanging for 50% of the cash after I completed the job. I'm sure he'll have changed his name by the time this posting goes up. Male elf, brown hair, gold eyes, looked to be in his mid-30s. Be careful who you work for out there. Never thought I'd see you admit to a mistake on here, says somebody else. Thanks for the heads up. I'll keep my eyes open. We'll forward any info if I come across, if you're still looking, or any info that I come across, if you're still looking to collect from the guy. Blitz. This is Blitz. Huh. Sent you some surveillance footage. Is this your man? It might not be the same Blitz as ours. And ProShot says, sure, nice one. I'll split the take with you if this lead pans out. Good to find there's still some honor among runners. Huh, interesting. I wonder if Blitz is going to say anything about that. I doubt it. But, yeah. That little interchange between, or about elves, that was clearly about, sexual attraction to elves. Or, I mean, maybe not clearly, but it was heavily hinted. That sort of reminds me of the fetishization, that's the word, of trans women, and as well as something called chasers, which are straight or bisexual men that specifically look for trans women as sexual partners, and also are pretty predatory and super creepy, and also something that trans women in specific have to learn to deal with and protect themselves from, because, well, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. So let's have a chat with Paul Amsel over here. News travels fast, 80. It seems a small group of well-armed assailants entered Das Kesselhaus Hotel earlier today and cleaned the house, so to speak. If you believe the tale, the controlling gang was eliminated down to the last man, and then the assailants strolled calmly out the front door, leaving a rather interesting power vacuum for the residents of Dragonkeeper in their wake. Amsel fixes you with a hard stare. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Well, I would like to... yeah, this is what I would like to have said, but interesting that we can't actually argue with him because we are not academic enough, and because his sensibilities are academic. That's the only way to actually convince him of the fact that, I sort of killed them because they had it coming. Hiccup, I'm sorry. Let's go with this one, though. I suppose it's the one that makes more sense. It was unfortunate, but I didn't have a choice. I had to get through them to find Green Winters. Well, perhaps there was no other way. I applaud your dedication to completing the mission, but I would recommend subtlety where possible. Mass bloodshed is not always the best means to an end. But enough of this, we have more pressing matters to discuss. Amsel's expression is harder than you've seen it before. When he speaks, his voice is grim, and the episode is ended. Because we're out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Shadowrun Dragonfall. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.